Hello. Okay, that's working. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Before we get to the effort of soldering all this stuff, I'm gonna make sure the switches actually fit. Nice. Yeah, I was gonna do it later, uh, but I found out yesterday that my best friend, who I was talking about on Saturday, um, who has cancer, brain cancer, how we joke about it and everything. Uh, it turns out we found out yesterday that um, it's not just brain cancer anymore. It spread to his spine. So instead of the 10 plus years prognosis, he's got 3 to 4 months. Um, and I'm not. It's hitting me today. It's really hitting me today. Um, and my therapist said that I should curl up in a blanket with the cats or some shit. Go to my happy place. Well, welcome to my happy place. I didn't even tell work. I don't give a fuck right now. I just need to do something, anything at all. So I'm gonna build this fucking keyboard because this won't take me that long. Just a bunch of diodes and some switches. What I'm trying to figure out right now is if I can put the switches and the diodes on the same side. So on the top, because this doesn't have sockets. So on the bottom, anything that sticks out is going to be directly on there. Like with my other boards, like this one or whatever, if I go caseless, it's fine because the sockets are there and everything that's not a socket is protected by the sockets. I don't know if I'm explaining it well. But these are also glass diodes, and I found out the other day when I was working on my Revion that they're kind of fragile, so I actually need to protect them more. So I'm thinking I put them on top of the board. Then the only other thing I have that sticks out the bottom are the pins from the switches, and I can just trim that shit flush or plasti dip it or whatever. I don't even care. So I'm gonna. I've got 10 of these PCBs. So if I fuck it up too bad, who cares? I've got another one. Okay. So now I just need to figure out my brain. Okay. I've got all the parts I need. Diodes, switches, controllers. I'm not going to do OLEDs on this because I don't care about OLEDs. I've got TRRS jacks. I've got reset switches, I think, but even if I don't, tweezers work just fine. This is not a... Well, maybe it will be, but this is not a, like, I'm going to use this forever. It needs to be perfect. This is an experiment board, so I don't really care if it's slightly janky. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So the other day I did an experiment with these glass diodes, these legless glass diodes, where I was putting a little flux on the diode and on the board and like dunking it on there. It worked okay. But with the RGBs, it actually worked better to do the tin the pad thing and then heat it and drop it. So I'm going to try that with these. Because I say it worked okay. There were like 5 or 6 of them that didn't get soldered onto the board. One side was on the board, the other side was floating in the air. I could literally stick a piece of paper under it. So I'm going to try it this way, just to see. Because it shouldn't take me that much longer. And maybe it'll work a little better. I don't know. So tin the pads, just on the one side. Oh god, these are in all sorts of fun directions. So one thing that's fun about this board is it is just a straight up auto-routed, just like someone ham-fisted this thing together. So it will be functional, but it's not going to be the most user-friendly for soldering or the prettiest traces or anything like that. So it means I got to be a little bit careful that I don't screw it up. What's up, Daryl? Whoops. Almost spilled everything. You know what? I just had a fucking epiphany. Oh, you're right, it is. There. Thank you. That would have been embarrassing. Like the icon for the stream being the dick butt and keycap, and I just don't care enough to fix it right now. This is a this is not going to be my finest work streaming wise, but I need the catharsis right now. So the epiphany I just had is, how do I keep these diodes from rolling all over the place while I dump them out and all that stuff? If only there was some sort of like sticky material that I could use. I don't even know if this is going to work. But we're going to try it. Because what is life if not experimenting with shit you don't know is going to work or not, right? It's like the opposite of what my brain wants to do with unrolling this tape. Okay. Now I should be able to just kind of carefully dump these out. And hopefully they stick. Yes. Okay, that one's stuck. I don't know if you can see it. There's a diode right there. And it's not moving. I can't even remember the last time I wrapped Christmas presents. I just do the lazy thing now and use a bag with some tissue paper in it. It's like here's a Ralph's bag. It's not even like a fancy Christmas bag. It's literally like a grocery store reusable bag with some tissue paper in it. But I also don't really do Christmas presents either because I never know what to buy things for people. Or buy... I never know words either. I never know what things to buy for people. Exactly. It's like, not only did I give you a gift, but I gave you a reusable bag, which in itself is a gift. Of course, at this point, if you don't have like 1,000 reusable bags, I don't even know who you are. Okay, so that one's in. I'm going to make sure the switch fits next to it. Just to see how much tolerance I have. Oh, you know what's going to be the problem, though? Is not maybe the switch body, but the cap. Where am I? Nope, that's fine. There's plenty of room there. That's pushed all the way down. There's plenty of room. Sweet. This is going to work. Broom. That's right. It's I am not your broom. Put this PCB, the Gerbers together, and I just got them printed. So I keep saying, like, someone did it. It's broom. I just can't remember things sometimes. So how's everyone else's day today? And please don't hold back on, I had a great day. I want to hear all the ways that people have had good days. Because that means there's good left in this world. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. It's one of those things, like, I feel like I'm always walking that line of, like, getting banned or becoming a mod. It's like, wow, you're really active and annoying, or wow, you're really active and let's make you a mod. You know, it's like I feel like people are just gonna be like, hey, dude, can you chill the fuck out? It's like, hey, no, here's your green powers. "32-kilometer bike ride. Nice. Dropping on your ankle is not great, though. What do you mean by missed out on gardening? Oh, dude, nice. 2 interviews? I actually had to cancel my interviews with Discord because I'm like, yeah, I've got way too much shit going on right now. I need to push that back. And they were really, really understanding about it. Like, that makes me just want to work there all that much more. Because, yeah, the next couple of weeks before I go to Israel is going to be a lot of stuff going on. So, how'd you crash your bike? That curb jumped right out of nowhere. Oh, God. That's the worst. You weren't even riding your bike and fell. Yep. Ah, shit. Okay. Yeah, I use mountain bike clipless shoes, so other than them being very stiff, they're pretty much just regular shoes. I've walked a lot of miles in my mountain bike shoes. But I'm not a road cyclist, I'm a city cyclist, so I need to be able to get off the bike and actually walk. Not walk like a duck to the porta potty and a bike ride or something. It's like, nope, I'm walking into this coffee shop that I'm going to sit at for a couple of hours and work and stuff like that. Walk around the grocery store. Nice. If you don't mind me asking, is there a reason why you want to join the military? Because I would like to dissuade you against that for a number of reasons. But I understand that people have reasons, and that's fine. That's true. The eating part, anyways. Make sure to check into the fine print on whether or not you can get deployed, though, because pretty sure we had some U.S. National Guard troops that got deployed overseas, not realizing they had signed up for that. Because they're for choc menu switches. So let me grab a regular choc. Actually, let me just grab a bunch of stuff. Okay, so we've got choc mini. Choc mini. That's a kale brown. Choc V1 brown. And a choc V2 brown. So this is probably what you're used to seeing. Get some light up in here. Right? You got your choc switch. 5 pins on the bottom. Okay. This is a choc mini switch. So it's subtly different. And the main thing that's different about it is that here, if you see, you've got a flat bottom with the pins sticking out. And this side, you've got the whole body of the switch protrudes down with the pins sticking out. So you need a bigger hole for the body of the switch to go through, because then it sits flush on the bottom. And the idea is that these are lower profile than choc V1s. And because I kind of like the choc V2 browns, I decided I would try the choc mini browns, because why not? And also I'm kind of collecting corns at this point, so choc mini corn is not a keyboard that I had, so now I have one and I'm building it up. Okay. Oops. Yeah, as far as I know, the only place you can get choc minis right now is from Kale's AliExpress store. That's where I got mine. I know the MK Ultra is getting choc V2s in, but not choc minis as far as I know. What? Okay. Yeah, 1232. I'm starting to learn the numbers of things because I just think of, oh, it's a choc mini, but they actually have a part number. Meh. It depends on the situation, but I generally use imperial, like miles per hour, or talking about gallons, or talking about, you know, it's 66 degrees outside and I'm not on fire. In fact, it's actually really fucking nice outside. Um, but like, yeah, just depends on the situation. I've done enough world travel and whatnot that, talking about kilometers of hiking on the trail while I can't necessarily visualize it, I at least know that, like, oh, yesterday I walked 25 kilometers and today I'm only going to walk 15 or something like that. Oh, you miss everything, Kaz. What? Weird. Oh no, never mind. Okay. These chalk eye stickers. Soon. I'm gonna send out a batch this weekend. I meant to do it this last weekend, but didn't get around to it for various reasons. Mostly I just felt like crap on Sunday. Oh, come on. What is going on today? Well, uh, I wasn't going to the post office. There's a shipping, you know, one of those like shipping supplies and stuff places down the street that I go to. It's called the Postal Annex. They'll ship FedEx, UPS, DHL, whatever you want. Well, those are pretty low profile, if you ask me. I can't see. Whatever. Yeah, I've got like a UPS store and a FedEx store and stuff nearby too, but this is actually the closest place. Although I do feel really weird walking in there with a prepaid, like it's already got a shipping label on it. I literally just need to give it to the shipping company. So I walk in there and I'm like, here's my package. Here's absolutely no money for doing this service. Hopefully you're getting paid somehow. Oh god, why do I suck so bad at this? So this is one downside of not using a switch plate. Is like, how do you put the switches in and then flip it over so you can solder them? Without just ruining everything. Because see, yeah. There's probably some trick someone has figured out. Yeah, tape though I've had mixed success with. Like when I did my plaid, I taped it, and a lot of them were not quite uh, lined up. So if you look across the top of the board, you see that the caps are all a little off. But we'll try some tape. The problem is that it's like, okay, this is springy, so it's hard to like tape it down. Well, yeah, I didn't make these footprints or these Gerbers or anything. I just placed the order. And hello, Pierre. Welcome to the party. The little bit of a pity party, but I appreciate everyone for being here because I need it right now. Yeah, see the tape. Yep. So is your tighter footprint tighter around the pins or tighter around the booty or whatever, the actual like the stem part, or both? Yeah. So kind of one of these three hands kind of things. Oh, damn it. No, I'm not. I know that it's supposedly easier to work with and whatnot. I just prefer not to use lead if I can avoid it because lead. Oh, that's a twist off. The finest elixir known to man. McFuddy Pepper Elixir. It is delicious. Apparently, according to Tom, or to Bomb, whoever you might know him as, the vapors aren't the problem. It's more the on your skin and then eating or whatever. So long as you wash your hands afterward, you're fine. I just prefer to not use lead in anything if I can avoid it. So McFuddy Pepper Elixir is like a spicy cola, kind of. It's not really cola, though. Hard to describe. Come on, there. Yeah, flux, when it gets in your nose and stuff like that, can really burn sometimes. That's why I've got this thing. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's better than nothing, and it at least pulls it away from my face. You might be able to get it near you if you have a Kroger in your area. Because I get mine from Fred Meyer, which is our local Kroger variant. It's over in the, like, natural sodas section. And normally I would be totally fine with sending any snacks or anything like that, but glass bottles of liquid are hard to ship. The conical tip is mostly all I've ever worked with. The other day I tried to use a couple of different tips because I bought some rando tips, and I just wasn't having the experience I wanted with them. The conical tip gets me in tight, but the solder tends to ball up on the side of it a little bit, which is a little frustrating when it's like I want it on the tip, but it's on the side. So you see I use a pretty low angle on the iron, and I'm coming at it from the side, which means sometimes I will do things like, well, I just see a big soldering problem here. But sometimes I'll do things like, oh, I'll be trying to hit it at an angle like this, and I will get my iron up against the switch or something. So I've melted a number of switches that way. Hang on, I gotta fix this. Okay, I think that's good. I am going to keep trying other tips, and I do want to use like the flat wide tip for um I don't know what the package is called, but it's like the chip with all the legs on the outsides. And I don't have my launch pad up here, but it's, you know, it looks like a spider or something like that. Just because I've seen that work really well for those kind of chips, but I've also only soldered a few of those, and so far not super successfully. Like my launch pad and my Gergo don't work, and I don't really know why. I just haven't gotten around to trying to troubleshoot. I do know that with the conical tip, I tend to need a little more heat, especially when it's cold outside, because it's cold in my basement when it's outside. And my workshop is in my basement. But that's why I have an adjustable heat soldering iron. Now I just live in a condo. So it's a single floor property, but everyone's got a basement, and the 5 of the units on the north side of the building have single car garages too. I'm on the south side, I don't have a garage. And when I say basement, it's a fairly small basement. It's about a third of the size of my first floor, or my main floor. And completely unfinished. But it's growing on me a lot. The more time I spend down here, the more I just want to spend more time down here. I mean, condo is just a fancy apartment. It's not even really that fancy. It's just I own it instead of renting it. But that comes with its own stuff. I don't know what wabi sabi is, but unfinished as in my camera is clipped to the floor joists that are above me, which are the floor joists for the main floor. The wall behind me, the wall in front of me is concrete. The floor is concrete, and the walls to the sides are just dividers, just like 2x4 panel wall dividers between my neighbor's basements and mine. Yes, they are attached to each other. We have what's called a homeowners association, which is responsible for the maintenance and upkeep and ownership and whatnot of the actual like structural and shared components. So like the landscaping is all shared. Our hot water is actually central hot water. So we have two really big ass water heaters in the Unit 6 basement, and they supply hot water to everybody. So the homeowners association pays the gas bill, pays the water bill, and then you pay into the dues of the homeowners association, and that's kind of your share of the expenses. And it also means that stuff like, replacing the siding on the entire building is split amongst the owners of the building, or the owners of the HOA, the members of the HOA. So when you're spending $700,000 to replace the siding, like we are, that gets split amongst 12 people. It's still a shitload of fucking money. And I'm not super happy to be spending it, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it, really. Especially because I'm the president of the HOA. Nah, shared water is fine. We have a water circulation system that circulates hot water throughout the building. Which means that when you turn your water on, your hot water, you don't have to wait for it to come all the way across the building. It's just coming from the pipes that are in your basement. Works okay. It's not the most efficient thing in the world, but we have fairly decently insulated pipes, so it's not terrible. We lose a lot more heat from our water heaters than we do from the hot water pipes, I'm sure. But even that's going to be fixed at some point. One reason we probably can't do individual hot water is we don't have individually metered gas lines to every unit, and trying to sub-meter would cost us a shitload of money. And our electrical services are not probably big enough to support a hot water heater in every unit, because we only have 100 amp circuits to each unit, which most, like the house I had in LA was a 200 amp trap. Well, see, that's what I kind of voted for, but because of our electrical services, it's a little harder. And upgrading electrical services would probably cost more than just kicking the can down the road and making it someone else's problem later. Which is what we're doing. We are going to replace the water heaters with something else. They're still obviously water heaters, but they're a little different. But it's just going to be one instead of two big ones, and it's going to be outside of the building instead of in Unit 6 basement. So, like right now, in the dead of winter even, like obviously right now isn't dead of winter, but in the dead of winter, the basement of Unit 6 is hot as hell because of those two big-ass water heaters. I can't imagine what it's like in the summer in there. Plus then, like, there's always that, the HOA has right of access or easement, or I don't know what it is, an agreement with Unit 6. Basically, I have a key to Unit 6's basement, and that's not ideal. Alright, that's diodes and switches on one half. Make sure we don't screw it up on the other side. Alright. How many do you want? This looks wrong. I mean, it doesn't have the controllers or anything yet, but diodes and switches at least. The diodes might look a little weird because they're on the top with the switches. This one? I wrote no on here so that I didn't accidentally start soldering on the other side. But this should be the top. Daryl, I think you might... Oh, yeah. Okay. That's why I was about to say you might not be realizing that I'm putting the diodes on top. I mean, they can go on either side, but I'm putting them on top because that means the fragile components aren't on the bottom. Because these diodes are a little more fragile than... No, I appreciate it. Hey, the last thing I want to do is spend, 45 minutes soldering a bunch of stuff and then be like, this is all wrong. So, you are a wonderful, wonderful person. I mean, normally I would put the diodes on the bottom, but these glass ones are a little more fragile in my experience. So if I can put them on top, I'm going to put them on top. Plus, then it makes it extra low profile because I can clip those legs, everything on the bottom, right up against the board if I want to. Hey Siri, next song. Lego is really fascinating. I stumbled on a YouTube video the other day that was talking about their new trains, like the new bearing and axle and wheels and stuff for their trains, and how they got so much more efficiency and all this stuff. And I'm just like, the amount of engineering effort that goes into like making things like the trucks on the train wheels so that you can build better off of them and they roll better and all that is just insane. The guy was talking about a clearly like a measurement that they use, not grip, but it was something like grip, basically like how well the pieces stick together. It was fascinating. I was like, holy crap. And then, of course, there's the fact that they've been made for like 50 years or something like that, and you can take one of the original Legos and hook it up to a Lego you bought today, and it'll snap right into place. Like just the sheer precision and consistency and all that stuff that goes into those engineering. It's like the best engineering that has ever come out of anything outside of Japan or Germany. No, I don't think it was Jang. It was like another word for when the pieces snap together and they want to stay together. Oh, the guy, not a weird measurement. Yeah. I don't know. I think Lego is from Denmark? Yeah. So, but it was like friction, yeah, but they called it something else. Clutch. I think that's it. That sounds very right. And so they were talking about the clutch power of the pieces on the undersides of the train trucks so that you could attach things to them and like attach multiple trucks to each other, and just it was really just fascinating. And then also how they were measuring this stuff with Lego things. So, like, you would think in an industrial situation, they're like, oh, we've got all these really cool sensors and tools and stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah, but we just built those for Lego and then used those. So, like, the same kind of stuff that they use to test their own Legos, they sell to kids. It's fucking great. Like, they had some sort of sensor that counted the number of times that went around the track, and you know, like, it was just mind blowing. Oh, good thing I checked. That one's backwards. Oh, I bet they are. It's a good thing I never make mistakes. Well, I know it's been at least 30 years because I've been building Legos since I was a little kid. So, you get used to it actually. My first one, I was really paranoid and I was just building a Romac macro pad. But now that I've built enough stuff on stream, I only really get self conscious when I'm really fucking it up. So, like with those LEDs, man, the SK6812 minis when I was building my Helix, and even the ones the other day when I was building the Revion, like, I was having issues, and I got frustrated, and I got really self-conscious, and I'm just like, man, I'm really screwing this all up, and I punted and fixed it off stream. I actually ended up not fixing the Helix because I gave up. It works as a keyboard, but the LEDs are all fucked, and if I were to want to fix that, I would probably just build another one and put that one in the pile of keyboards that I'm like, well, one of these days I might get bored enough to try to fix this. But otherwise, it's a spare PCB. Plus, the number of people following me on my stream, I'm much more self-conscious about, like, when chat is quiet than whether or not I'm making mistakes. But I think that comes down to I don't talk a whole lot generally when I'm streaming. So that's why why today I was like, tell me about your day. Because I'm like, I just need to whatever. I'll tell you what, the new the 6812 Mini E's that the choc or the corne V3 boards use are a dream. They just are so easy to put on. Like they're amazing. 10 out of 10. They don't fall through the board. You're not putting your hot ass soldering iron directly on the thing that's going to melt half a second later. I mean, it's just so much better. Whoops. I do have a choc. Yeah, here, let me grab some. I do have a choc V3 or a corne V3 in choc that I will be building one of these days. It's hard to see. But you can see they've got little legs on them. And they're mid-mount. So you can mount them either way. And you just sit them on the hole, and the legs sit out the side, and then you just go boop, solder real quick on all 4 pads. And there you go. They are not electrically compatible or pin compatible with the 6812s, these. So you can't just use these in place, which is annoying as shit. I don't know why they do that, but whatever. What did you put on the bling? $19.49. Okay, so 72 years. Pretty much. And really, soldering isn't that much harder than putting Legos together. And way more fun. Well, maybe not way more fun, because Legos are pretty fucking fun. One of my best contributions to Stripe, in my eyes, was when we had our team on site or off site during our big convergence week where everyone goes into San Francisco. So you've got like 3 times as many people in San Francisco at Stripe than normal. I was like, why don't we do something else besides just go out to a restaurant and drink? And I was like, I mean, we could do like a game night or we could something. And someone's like, Legos. And I'm like, Legos. Because our budget for the team offsite was like $85 a person or something like that. And we had 12 people on the team? 6 people. I don't know. We spent like $750 on 2 Lego sets. And then built them in the office while eating food from the office. Because Stripe has 3 meals a day at the office. And everyone was envious. They were like, oh, that's such a great idea. Because they were all going out to like fancy restaurants for dinner and all this stuff. And we're like just eating regular office food, but playing with fucking Legos. It was genius. So while I didn't bring the Legos part, I planted the seed of let's do something else. So I take partial credit for that, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. So we built the Sydney Opera House kit and the Ghostbusters Firehouse. And what's awesome is Lego has basically set both of those up to be kind of like done in sections and build them together. So it was really easy to, we all just kind of took a section and took a couple of bags of parts and parallelized it pretty well. And yeah, and then we got to keep the Lego sets, obviously, so they're just in the office now. So you walk around Stripe's office and you're going to see Lego Opera House and Lego Ghostbusters Firehouse, and that's in part due to me, and that makes me happy sometimes. Because I do miss Stripe a lot. They are. Like $350 a piece, though. And you're like, as an adult, you can buy whatever you want, right? But who thinks to buy Legos? And I was like, let's do something different. Legos. Yeah, that was pretty great. And I mean, we could have fancy food out, but like the food at Stripe, at least when I was there, was pretty phenomenal. I'm convinced we had the best food team in the industry. Stripe does credit card processing, among other things. But that's how they got started. They're like the most anticipated IPO of 2015, and they still haven't IPO'd. but they're also the reason why I don't need a job anymore. Yeah, I like Lego cars if they're functional, like an actual gearbox and all that stuff. Yeah, they're like one of the biggest or highest market or highest valued private companies in the world right now or something. Valuation like $110 billion. And I own just teeny portion of that. And only a teeny portion of what I should own. And it's still enough money that I don't need to fucking work anymore. I mean, not forever. I'm gonna have to work at some point, but like, I can take it easy. I don't have to. I don't have to make, you know, San Francisco tech guy salary for the rest of my life anymore. I can go work at a nonprofit, or I can open a keyboard shop, or whatever. I don't know. Take 5 years off and go walk around the world. I mean, even steering, if it's done properly. I don't have quite that much stripe stock. You wrote me a letter? I don't know what to think about that. Like well, you probably have a lot better handwriting than I do. I don't know why. I just get the feeling that you like care about your handwriting. Well, I know why. Because you nerd out about pens. And people with shitty handwriting like I do don't nerd out about pens because we're embarrassed by our handwriting. I always tell people, I mean, I type for a living. I don't write with a pen and paper for a living. I type with a living, or for a living. You want it to be legible? Let me type it. I don't like light springs. I don't like them super heavy, but I don't like light springs. I tried G-chocks and I lasted maybe a day and I was like, I can't do this. I just can't. Something about them, I just can't do it. Sorry, Germ. You're amazing. But I can't. Nope. How's the future? Or did you jump backward in time? Yeah, you probably didn't miss much. I know that feeling. I think a spider or something just ran across the floor of my basement right next to my foot. But I can't see it. I can't find it. Oh no, it's a fly. Okay, never mind. So I need... No, it might not have been that big. I mean, it was a pretty good sized fly. Oh, so they're not like addressable RGBs? Ah, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't even looked the I haven't even looked at what it is other than, oh, that's a cool looking layout. That'd be kind of fun to build. Take my money. Plus, I like supporting cool people doing cool shit. Yeah, I haven't tried them either. I will let you know in 20 minutes. They don't have rattle bars, so I mean, you couldn't hear that anyways because it'd be below the noise threshold of my microphone. But they're quieter at least. I have been using Holy Pandas for the past several days, so it's going to be hard to give a good comparison because nothing is going to feel as good as those. I mean, those just are. Here's the reason they're so popular. They're fucking fantastic switches. They're just awfully loud. I mean, I can't do away with the jack. I'm not going to make this a wireless board. So it's got to connect to the other side somehow. I mean, I could, like, use some actual wire to wire them together, but why do that when I have TRS? And even though I'm not planning to do so, I'm going to solder the bridges on the OLEDs just in case. It's easier to do now than once there are controllers in place. Oh, come on. Okay, no, I'm not. Because I'm never going to put OLEDs on this. Yeah, I'm doing the headers right now. I don't use the OLEDs I have for anything. Like my MX Corne that has OLEDs just has whatever the stock OLED display does, which is like debugging what um, layer or what keystroke you just made or whatever, or what key you just hit, and then what layer state or something. The headers do stick out, but I'm going to trim them off. At least on the top. On the bottom, I think I'm just going to bump ons and call it a day. Well, I have the Bongo Cat animation on my Kyria, and it does make it totally worth it. But I'm just too lazy to do that on my corn, and I just, at this point, I just don't care. I do want to do some fun stuff with raw HID, though. Because I'd love to be able to have, like, the weather on my OLEDs. On the Zen, I actually want to turn off the layer state thing, but mostly what I want is battery level and what Bluetooth profile it's on. And then eventually it'd be nice to have a little cat or some sort of cute thing that's on there. It doesn't need to be animated, but just some sort of static display thing. Especially in, like, when it's off. Oh, you know what I didn't do? And I have a feeling this is going to bite me this time. But I didn't flash the firmware before I soldered the controller. So I guarantee you this controller is just gonna not work. And I'm gonna have to cut the damn thing off. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Yay, it works. Safety squints. All right, now before I do the same thing with the other controller, let me just flash it real quick. Okay, that worked. I mean, you say it has low profile, don't use the TRRS. It's not really any taller or bigger or anything than the switches. And remember, caps need to go on top of this too, so. What's a ZIF cable? Oh, zero insertion force. Nice. Yeah. I think the Raspberry Pi has some of those. Yeah. Right here. I mean, it's hard to see through this, but on the top side here. Can I get this open without tools? Shit, I haven't opened this thing in years. Yes. Yeah. This, I believe, is a ZIF. No, the micro SD slot is here. But this, I think, is a ZIF, because if you pop this up, you can stick a cable in there or something, and then it snaps down on top of it. I'm not sure how it works, but pretty sure that's what it is. That's the 3B. I have two 4s, one a 4 gig and one an 8 gig. The 8 gig is sitting right over there, but it's plugged in, and the 4 gig is in a case that needs tools to take it apart. See, my Raspberry Pis I use as like Linux boxes. But now that I have a Mac Mini that I SSH into, I never use my Raspberry Pi, like ever. So I'm probably gonna get rid of it, or not get rid of it, but like turn it off at some point. I do use it for compiling QMK though, because I haven't gotten that to work yet on my M1 Mac. It can't do it natively, but now that Docker supports M1 Mac natively, I should be able to do it in a Docker container. I just haven't bothered. But it works just fine on my Raspberry Pi, which is ironic because Raspberry Pi is a 64-bit ARM. So is my M1 Mac. But the M1 Mac, I can't do it. I don't get it. But it's fine. Because the Raspberry Pi is $40. And I can, if I really wanted to, I could power it from the M1 Mac. Just plug the USB port into it. See, I disagree. I think the Mac is better than it's ever been. And it's only getting better all the time. but I am also a Apple fanboy. I don't have any more Apple shit, you know. Apple fanboy, you know. The only thing I am not a fan of about Mac and Apple products and stuff like that is you cannot virtualize a Mac, which means if you want a build box somewhere hosted, you're paying for someone else's Mac Mini sitting there. And that means that stuff is expensive. I can't just get an AWS Mac box and have Mac OS for like Xcode build servers and stuff like that. You know, I don't even use Xcode, but if I wanted a VM that ran Mac OS, I couldn't do it. What IO limitations? Well, they haven't reached the Pro line yet. They want to make sure it's all sorted out. The Mac Mini was never meant to be, you know, a pro desktop. Right, but the iMac is meant to be a consumer product. your average home user who wants a built-in display all-in-one kind of thing doesn't need more than 16 gigs of RAM. What do you mean Mac RAM is different than Windows RAM? Like physically? Because yes. Because it's now built into the system on chip. I know where I have a cable, TRS cable. Yeah, but it's also the first iteration of a brand new thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably not the best person because I'm biased. Oh, yeah. Well, but it's in the processor now, so it's even lower latency and stuff. Oh, I love these rejects. It even matches my cable, unintentionally. Everyone always talks about how expensive Macs are, but man, you take a Mac and a comparably spec'd, cheap computer, and the build quality is just not even comparable. Macs hold their value a lot longer. You're not carrying around this giant brick of a. I mean, there was someone that had like an Alienware laptop or something at a coffee shop one time, and I swear their power brick was like that for their fucking laptop, and it's like I can power my Mac off of a phone charger practically, and that was before M1. You look at things like power consumption. Like one of the reasons I decided years ago to go all in on Mac was because they were putting a lot of effort into making their hardware and software integrated such that power consumption was always a top priority. So for a long period of time, they never had a situation where they're like, yeah, and you get less battery life with the new version of our thing. It's always you get more battery life, and they do that by doing things like, okay, well, let's make hardware encoders and decoders for all this. Let's do hardware offloading of all of our encryption. It's the T2 chip. Like, it does full drive encryption with no performance penalties in hardware, and it's extraordinarily secure. And, like, yeah, it's great. We're gonna have a little bit of thing. Well, I will say that some of that is probably due to thermals, because my 2019 MacBook Air is a pig. It sucks. I love it, but I can't stand it. It frustrates me to no end. And that's because it's just the thermal design thing, it just sucks in this, and it's also slow. So both of those things combined. But then they were kind of like, yeah, well, we're just gonna change it all by switching to M1, which has way less thermal requirements, and we'll do better things with that. It's kind of how I see it. Oh yeah, if you use it just for email, it's fantastic. But I mean, fire up a full screen YouTube video on an external display and the fans kick on like it's going to orbit. Oh wow, that one's really ugly. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it. It's hard to see. But it's like a really nasty, ugly green kind of. Where did my... Yeah, you got a Dell laptop for 460 Canadian, but I don't think they're comparable. But that's just me. I did get a shitload of purple. And for a second, I thought I just snapped one of the legs off. I did break a little piece of it, but not the whole thing. Okay, and just for Kaz, one purple or one orange and one green. Although that's not very green. It's more like an aquamarine. Okay. Wow, these are kind of stiff. Like in a good way, once I get used to it. I feel like it's tighter spacing too. Is this chalk spaced? Anybody know? No, there's too much gap there. Okay, let me put some bump-ons on this. And my bump-ons are upstairs. Okay, well, I will take it upstairs, but I don't have camera and stuff upstairs, so... Functional, choc mini, corne. And I don't have my... I don't have my regular choc V1 corne, but it is seemingly lower profile than that. And there is a much more pronounced, I would say, tactile bump to these. Oh, you won't be able to hear it. I'll have to do that upstairs. And I don't have a setup for typing tests because I want to get it so I can put my camera so it's focused real tightly on the keyboard and my mic so it's right next to there and all that stuff. Whereas here it's just way too noisy for a typing test, sound test. But it is, I'd say, comparable to a non-tape modded chalk red in terms of sound. Like, take the rattle bar out, and it's about that sound. There's something weird with the spacing, because it feels off somehow. What is going on here? And also, I think I just need to get this thing out of the way. Yep, I'm going to monkey type. I'm going. My bump-ons are upstairs, so things are going to move around a lot. Oh, that's really stiff. They're a lot stiffer than I was expecting. Let me kill the music. Maybe you can hear. Brace your ears. Okay. Wow, these are weird. So they're very snappy, but I feel like the weights are really inconsistent. Like this key right here feels way lighter than this one. And this key here feels way lighter than this one. Like this one feels about the lightest on the whole board. But they do have a nice little chiclet snap to them. Almost like a Mac keyboard. But they're heavier. They're kind of sticky. They probably need a break-in. It's also entirely possible they've been sitting unused in the warehouse for years because nobody buys the damn things. It's interesting. I would say they're better than Choc Browns. Choc V1 Browns. I don't know. Whatever. They're not bad. I'll play around with them some more. And I quit the stream, apparently. I hope I'm still streaming. I didn't mean to shut everyone off. No, that's not what I wanted. Oh, come on. How do I get back to the freaking... There. Okay. Yeah, I just accidentally closed the YouTube Studio, which is where I see chat. OBS was still running and stuff, but that doesn't mean that the stream is still going. Yeah. So that's it. I'm gonna I'm probably not gonna use this much soon because my new Reviung 41 choc PCB is on the way, and I'm planning to build that up, and then because that's probably what's going to go with me to Israel. But when I get back from Israel, then I'll start using this daily driver just to see how it is. Yeah. And yes, I'm gonna send out stickers in a couple of days. I don't know if it's chalk space. It definitely feels smaller. It's hard for me to go like, oh yeah, look, it's chalk space next to my MX corne because that's MX caps, but oh, it is smaller by a little bit. I'm not really sure where in Israel. It's not a huge country, so probably everywhere. But my friend's family is from Israel, or he's from Israel originally, and his family, a lot of his family still lives there, so probably all of his family places. Yeah. And Kaz, if you send me switches and caps, well, maybe not caps, but switches at least, I will build you one of these, because I've got 2 other sets of PCBs that are spoken for. So I've got 2 more sets of PCBs that are not. I was going to put them on Mech Market, see if anybody wanted them. I don't know. Haven't gotten that far yet. Anyways, that's the build. Thank you all for being here. I needed a distraction. It's been a shitty fucking week. And it's only Tuesday. But this is my happy place. Building keyboards, that's yeah. Anyways, I am gonna go back upstairs and do something. I don't know. But I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you, everyone. Seriously. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here.